Hello, everybody. We are here today to talk about tourism association and tourism association in general. We will talk about from a global point of view, from a regional perspective, and from an agency perspective. And we are really, really lucky to have with us today Kai Hattendorf. And Kai is the CEO of the UFI, and UFI is the Global Association of the Exhibition Industry. But before starting and entering into the details of our discussion, Kai, first of all, thank you very much for joining. And can you tell a little bit more about yourself, UFI, and who are your members?
Sure, Luca, and it's great to see you again, if only screen to screen. It's been a while, and let's hope we can have a real face-to-face meeting soon. Well, UFI, as you said, we are the global trade body for the exhibition industry part of the business events industry. So our members are the exhibition organizers, the owners and operators of the exhibition venues around the world, and selected partners and suppliers of the industry. We're also serving as the global umbrella for all the national and regional associations servicing exhibitions around the world, from the national level to geographically regional level, like the European Union or Latin American level. Traditionally, we do a lot of events for the events community. We do a lot of research, education, and hardly surprising, in the last 15 months, based on the pandemic, a lot of advocacy and explaining about the role we have to play to bring business back to the show floors, to reopen the meeting places and the marketplaces of the world.
Perfect. Thanks so much for the introduction. I should start with a statement that another industry association threw on the market a couple of years ago, and PCMA 2 years ago issued a statement saying that business events are a catalyst for social, economic, and professional growth. And I think that that is true, and it's even more true these days that we are going through the recovery. What do you think about that, and can you elaborate a little bit about that?
Well, that is pretty much right from our songbook at UFI. Now, if you look at what drives the economic recovery, what drives innovation, it is the meeting places, it is the marketplaces of the world that we put together as the business events industry. If you just look at the economic impact, the damage done through COVID to our sector, we've lost 70% of our revenue in 2020 compared to 2019 because we couldn't run and we couldn't hold these events. That's the internal damage we took as a sector that boils down to job losses and economic conflicts around the world as companies had to part from their colleagues and people. But it translates even more into the order books of the companies, these kind of hundreds of thousands of companies that use exhibitions to present their products, to sell their products. If you look at their order books, they've been empty for 15 months because they couldn't come to the show floor. And we've calculated that economic damage, and it goes into the hundreds of billions of US dollars of products not sold, of services not delivered because the show floors were closed. So that alone, reopening that, will be such a huge driver for economic recovery. And the way we put it is, exhibitions, business events are really the fastest of all fast tracks to economic recovery because we reconnect businesses, we reconnect people, we reconnect ideas to be that catalyst again going forward.
That's a very, very clear explanation, and I fully agree with that. Let's now talk about another aspect, and we talk about trade shows and conferences. And we know that there is a huge amount of travel that is associated to conference and especially trade shows, the big trade shows of our industry. So how do you see those and will that help the economic recovery of the hosting destinations?
Well, obviously, it helps if industries people reconnect. And if you are the host to these meetings, it means they reconnect at your destination, in your venue, in your restaurants, in your hotels, wherever they go. And that's just the obvious part, the heads and beds or the above the waterline part, the direct economic impact of an event that takes place at your destination. If you look and evolve the relationship with an industry, with an event, in a deeper level, onto the intellectual level, onto the educational level, you generate so much value from all the knowledge, all the expertise that people bring into your destination when they come to attend an industry conference. There's a reason why a destination like Barcelona is investing so much in the Mobile World Congress. There's a reason why Lisbon, and I was talking to the Secretary of State from Portugal about that just the other day, why they're investing into Web Summit as an event. Hosting Web Summit has made Lisbon the second highest rated destination for people who want to set up a company in the digital space to do something related to the topics they're discussing at Web Summit. So there's all this impact beyond the simple fact that people are coming to travel to your destination to attend an event. They so enrich the fabric of your society, the intellectual skill set you have, and the opportunities for your destination going forward.
Thank you. And the last question that I have of our conversation is, did UFI change his approach to his membership over these 15 months of pandemic? Or did you run your business as it was before? Of course, you were not running your events, but did you create any activity and specific activities? And how do you see the overall business event industry working together towards the recovery?
You can say we changed everything, or you can say we changed nothing. We were faced with a situation to redefine how we can serve our communities best. What's the most relevant thing we could do for our membership around the world? They wanted to stay connected. So since March last year, we've run more than 50 digital events to keep them connected. We ran our global congress on a digital platform as 16 hours of live broadcasts from all around the world and business prime time slots for the respective units, down to a 1-hour digital conversation we were hosting on all kinds of platforms, on Clubhouse, on Grip, on LinkedIn, on Zoom, wherever the members were, wherever we could give them added value. We've built communities online for our members to connect. We've done more research than ever before, and for sure we've done more advocacy than ever before. The feedback has been very positive because in essence, as an association, you're here to serve an industry. You're not a business as such. You're there to make sure your members can do good business and can handle whatever situation fate throws at them. And we are laser focused on delivering these values to the global membership. And I'm very happy to say we've now more members than we had before the pandemic. And so far they've been very gracious in their feedback. And they are following up on that feedback by making sure they're funding us appropriately so we can continue to do that.
That's perfect. So Kai, thank you very much for being with us today. Thank you very much for sharing your thoughts so openly. And I really hope that we will be able to see in person and not on a screen very, very soon. Thanks a lot for being with us and have a great rest of the day. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Luca.
So we just heard the point of view of a global association of UFI about the Tourism Association. And we are now tackling the subject from a different angle, from a regional angle. And I am really, really pleased to have with us Chris Bloore. Welcome, Chris. Thank you for being with us. And
thank you. Chris
is the president and CEO of TIAO, that is the Tourism Industry Association of Ontario. Sorry for that. And I should start asking you, Chris, to introduce yourself, your association, who your members, and what are the services that you are providing to your members in Ontario, Canada.
Thank you, Luca, and thank you for the invitation to speak today. My name's Chris Bloore, as you've mentioned, and I'm the President and CEO of the Tourism Industry Association of Ontario. We're a provincial organisation that represents the tourism industry in Ontario to government, both provincially and federally. And over the last 15 months, we've really been at the forefront trying to successfully persuade both provincial and federal governments to supply economic supports to the tourism industry during the last 15 months and the catastrophic consequences of the COVID-19 pandemic. We've been really fortunate to have a really solid working relationship with both levels of government. We've managed to push through significant legislation that has provided economic support for the businesses and the operators that we represent across Ontario. Now, we represent world-class and world-famous destinations and attractions such as the CN Tower and Niagara Falls, to the smallest family-run B&Bs or motels in rural and northern Ontario. And so we really have a diverse membership. We are representing multi-million-dollar organizations and people who are running their companies in retirement or their family-run businesses. And so over this last 15 months, as well as trying to support them with legislation and financial supports, we've really been trying to support them with health and safety protocols, with encouraging people to travel when restrictions have been lifted, providing one-on-one support for applications to access support programs, to help them assess their business's needs moving forward, and just provide them with a voice. And you know, we represent over 500,000 workers in the Ontario economy, over 200,000 businesses, and that means that there's a lot of different policy goals and different things that we've tried to achieve. But as an organization and as an industry, we've tried to bring people together, because that's what TIAO's position is, and TIAO's mission statement is to bring the industry together so that we can speak with one voice. And so, you know, we've done a lot of successful things over the last 15 months, and looking forward, we're now working with government to represent our members to lay out that critical pathway to reopening and recovery for our industry, working with the federal government to ensure that we have a consensus on whether we need vaccination passports or vaccination certificates, and working with them to make sure that we have the right economic supports in place to support industry get through this difficult period. You know, our international competitors, our provincial competitors are all going to be trying to get part of that market that Ontario has and has been very successful in growing over the last decade. And so we're trying to make sure that our businesses are free to be able to open without restrictions, and if that's not the case, that they have the economic supports to get through this period.
Thank you very much. And it looks like you are playing a really an important role for your members. I have one question, because I'm not too much skilled about the Canadian region. What is your relationship with the Canadian Tourism Industry Association, if there is one, and I think there is one, and there is a difference between the regional association, tourism association in Canada and in North America. Can you tell a little bit about that?
Yeah, so we in Canada, we have provincial associations, and we come together on a regular basis as part of the PTTIA to talk about what's happening within our own provinces, talk about the different challenges that we have. We have very different provinces within Canada, geographically and climate-wise, and so we have different markets that we're all trying to grow and be part of. And so we are all part of the Tourism Industry Association of Canada, known as TIAC, and we have a great relationship with that organization, because they do the majority of the national lobbying and advocacy on behalf of the tourism industry, and they have a very strong voice. And we're very fortunate that Beth Potter, who is the president and CEO of that organization, used to have the role that I have now as president and CEO of TIAO, and so we have a really close working relationship. And in the United States, I know that they have very similar organizations sort of advocating on behalf of their individual states, and also they have associations to represent the industry that they come together. You know, I'm thinking of the Great Lakes Forum that we're part of, that also includes the United States states in and around the Great Lakes. But in Canada as a whole, we're very fortunate to have a very cohesive and a very joined up process for advocating and part of the tourism industry. I think it's a little bit more competitive in the United States, but in Canada, we're very fortunate to have that relationship. That means that during this last 15 months, we've been able to work together to amplify the voices of all of the tourism industry in every province, and TIAO has helped support us do that. So yeah, we have a very you would probably say a Canadian relationship between our provinces. It's very collaborative, and we work together on a daily basis. And to be brutally honest, Luca, we've had to do that because the tourism industry in Canada has really suffered over the last 15 months, as I'm sure it has in other parts of the world. Many of our communities, tourism has sort of replaced lost manufacturing industries, and has really become the main source of income and jobs in those communities. And so it's been really important for us to support our rural areas, specifically in Ontario, but in other rural areas of other provinces, to make sure that, you know, they haven't just been cut adrift. And because we are still in that very slow process of recovery and reopening, we're definitely not out of the woods yet. So those very strong relationships we have within tourism industry association in Canada has proven fruitful and been very successful for us.
And I think that not only you have to be and to work closely with Canada, but the entire industry has to work closely as a global industry, because through tourism we can really drive the economic recovery globally. Now I have
Sorry, Luca, I was just going to add, you make a really good point, and that's why discussions like this are so important. We are a huge industry. We are a worldwide economic force, and if this crisis has proven anything, it's that our economies in our individual nations and in our provinces rely on tourism much more than perhaps some people had felt before. And so it's so important that after this crisis is over, that the tourism industry continues to play its role in government advocacy and as a world player, because so many people rely on us for livelihoods, and so many people rely on us for economic activity and growth.
Great. So I have a last question for you. I know, and I read that TIAO is partnering with Sustainable Tourism 2030. Can you tell us a little bit more about this initiative and the reason why it's important and the reason why you decided to engage and to partner with this initiative?
Well, making sure that our tourism is sustainable moving forward is just such an integral part of what tourism is going to look like in 10, 20, and 30 years' time. It's so important that as an industry, we meet the growing traveler demand for responsible businesses and sustainability, sustainable tourism experiences. And one of the reasons that we partnered with Sustainable Tourism 2030 is because of the services and assessments that they make of our individual members and our destinations, and help provide them the guidance and the advice on how that they can become more sustainable, how that they can create engaging programs for tourism businesses to improve their performance and meet the challenges and the requests of travelers moving forward. And so, you know, there's lots of different things that Sustainable Tourism 2030 have done with us. We've, you know, energy assessments, carbon measurements, and science-based reduction targets, things that save money for the individual businesses, but also just, you know, show our commitment as an industry to be sustainable moving forward. You know, it's so important that as an industry we recognize the impact of climate change, that we recognize that tourism will not look the same in 20, 30 years unless we take action to protect some of our most important and treasured sites in our nations and in our provinces. And so we've worked with Sustainable Tourism 2030 to offer their products and their services to our members. We're really delighted that how many of our members have taken them up on that, how many of them have made small but significant changes to their way in which their businesses work so that they can be more sustainable moving forward. And so, you know, it's so important that we continue to do this. It's something that we're going to be looking to refresh and re-energize as we move forward. But, you know, one of the things that we've noticed during this period where people have been traveling internally, when there's been restrictions on travel, particularly in Ontario and in Canada, people have been going out to find those off the beat track off the beat hidden jewels in our tourism industry, in our environment, and it's so important that we protect them, maintain them, and preserve them for the future. And so we're doing all that we can to be part of that through Sustainable Tourism 2030, and we're just hopeful that we can continue to push that message going forward.
Thank you so much, Chris. I think we came to the end of our conversation. So once again, I thank you very much for being with us, for sharing openly your thoughts, and for telling more about your association and what you're doing in Canada. So thank you very much for being with us. And I really hope that we will be able to see each other in person very, very soon, and not just on a screen. Thank you.
Thank you, Luca.
Hello, Ori. We are continuing our conversation about the Tourism Association, and we have already heard about the point of view of a global association of UFI and a regional association from the Ontario. And now we are here to talk with you and to get your point of view about the point of view from an important agencies. And by the way, Ori Lahav is the Vice President of Clients and Services at Kennes Group. That is one of the largest group of PCOs in, I should say, worldwide. So I will go straight to the point, Ori, with you, and I will start with the first question. What is your vision about the conference association market, the conference association market these days?
First of all, hi, Luca. Thank you for having me here today. That's a very good question. I mean, everybody's speaking about hybrid, right? Hybrid is the biggest buzzword in our industry today that replaces the word virtual, maybe. But we also know that hybrid also introduced many new challenges for us as a PCO or agency or as an association, financially and operationally. So here in Kennes, for example, we've been working hard in the last couple of months to find a hybrid solution, a solution that can serve the association and will not put us both at risk. So on one hand, ensuring great delegate experience, but on the other hand, ensuring that it's financially viable and we don't take any unnecessary risk. And we currently have kind of, let's say, more or less 3 scenarios or formats we're directing our clients to, because we want to help our clients find the best way. But I would like to add that one thing is clear, that associations realize that education actually can be done online, right? We all learned that, all of us, in the last year and a half. So one thing is clear, that the conferences, the events will focus more on networking, hands-on, creating collaboration, creating communities, alongside with the educational component that will still stay the core of the event. And one last point on this is, again, going back to hybrid, and now maybe we're going to be I will maybe be different from other people. Why do we are forcing that to be at the same event? Because everybody sees hybrid as this, in-person meeting and a virtual one. It all happens at the same time. Maybe it doesn't. Maybe we have to look at it as 2 different events. Have the in-person event, maybe the short term will be smaller or shorter, but in the long term will be bigger again. And have the in-person events with everybody. A few days later, capture the content, record the content. 1, 2, 3, 7 days afterwards. Maybe have an online event. Use the content you have recorded. Add additional content. Ask the speakers to join again. But maybe you don't have to force it. Again, at least for the short term, because there's, as I mentioned, implication financially and operationally.
And you talk about the financial implication, and I have one question about finance. So far, as the association, and mainly the medical association, they relied a lot on congresses as their main revenue streams. And now during the last year, they suffered a lot because this revenue stream was missing. Do you think that the associations are starting to find or to change their mindset and finding new revenue streams? Or my vision is either you reinvent or die. What do you think about that?
Yeah, it's a very good point, Luca. I mean, we serve a wide spectrum of association. I can tell you that On one hand, we have, on the one extreme, we have those clients that don't want to hear nothing about virtual. They will postpone and postpone until they can meet in person. On the other extreme, they have those who are so happy from virtual, they don't understand why they have to meet again. But the majority of us obviously is somewhere in the middle. And of course, our role, you know, again, it's to support them, especially in this challenging time, and to help them change this mindset you spoke about and prepare them to the new era. And this new era will include blended learning, new formats and events, as we spoke, hybrid, yes, no, different type of events, e-learning platform, and so forth. But it's clear that the business models are changing. And I agree with you that the association that will stick, you know, to the old models, it will become more and more challenging for them to survive.
And I have a last question for you. You have already spoken about how you as Kenes, as an agency, are helping your customer through this platform, through this process of changing the mindset. But now let's take your second hat, that is being the president of IAPCO, that is the International Association of the PCOs, of the Professional Congress Organizer. How do you, or first of all, do you see PCOs even changing and starting to approach the market in a different way? And how is it IAPCO helping and supporting their members? So we have spoken about the association and the way they are approaching this, but how the PCOs and the agencies are approaching the market and the changed market, and how you as an association of PCOs are helping your members through this process.
Great question. I tell you, I had a lot of sleepless nights as president of an association of a professional congress organizer. Of course, you know, our industry was the first to, you know, was badly hit by the pandemic. And from the day it started, we realized we needed to support our members, which are PCOs. And the first thing that came in mind to me was that, okay, we need those platforms for short knowledge exchange. We need the platform that we can all share and learn from each other and understand, especially in the beginning, what's the situation in every country, what every country is doing, how they are facing the pandemic. And we created what it was until it still is called the IAPCO Impact Dialogue. And we started to have a monthly dialogue with our members, supporting them and investing a lot in educate them about how to face the new norm, how to, you know, create a virtual events, how to, and we started tackling topic after topic. How do you sell, you know, virtual exhibition, virtual sponsorship, and everything related to the solution that will help them to survive. Already in an early stage, we've received many requests from the industry to open up those discussions, not only to our members, but the entire ecosystem. And this is what we did, and we're still doing it. We have a monthly IAPCO Impact Dialogue that you know, hit the hot topics. In addition, of course, we obviously turn a lot of our educational activities to virtual. So we're still running a lot of edge seminars, again, to help the industry better cope with the situation. But I can tell you, because of course, we were under a lot of risk as an association, and we cut down a lot of expenses in order to ensure that we survive. And every activity that we did, we examined thoroughly to ensure it gives added value to our members and to ensure that our value proposition is still relevant to everybody like it used to be. And the bottom line that I can tell you, I'm happy to share it now, that at the end of 2020, we were able to maintain 97% of our members. So although everybody was in risk because they are professional congress organizers, I'm happy to say that they saw an added value in IAPCO, and they decided to still keep the membership, although you know, the cost related to it, and they saw the value we bring to them. But that also means that they were able to adapt quickly to the situation and provide virtual solution to the clients. So I mean, it's a challenging time, but kind of a happy ending.
Great result, very well done, because 97% of loyalty and keeping your membership at that level, it's really, really a great result. So I think that we have joined the end of our conversation. So I can only thank you again for being with us, for contributing to our chat and discussion. And I really hope to have the opportunity of seeing you in person and not only on a screen very, very soon. So thank you so much for being with us. Have a great rest of the day, and see you soon.
Thank you. See you soon.